why being featured in I Am Magazine is the right choice.
You ever notice how everybody wants to be seen right until the moment they realize being seen means people are actually going to form an opinion about them? That's usually where things get interesting because suddenly it is not about how do I get more visibility. It becomes how do I make sure I don't get dismissed the second someone takes a closer look. And I think that's the real conversation here. I think that is the conversation we keep having with people.
Mhm.
Not visibility, but credibility. I am Jennifer Thompson, editor in chief and co founder of I Am Magazine International. My job is basically taking someone's story and making sure it doesn't get treated like background noise on the internet. And
Mhm.
honestly, I've seen enough viral moments fade in about 48 hours to know that attention without positioning is just expensive noise. That's why I care about this conversation.
Well, hi everyone. I am Yadira Gonzalez Munoz, founder and CEO of Faya Magazine International. And for me, this was never about media, the way people usually think about media. It's about people, it's about their stories and what happens when that story is finally giving the space it deserves.
I remember when we first started talking about this, and it wasn't really some big let's disrupt media pitch. It was more like, why is it so hard for the right stories to actually be
Mm,
taken seriously unless they're packaged in this very specific way? So,
right.
what was that real starting point for you?
Well, Time Magazine International was founded because I saw a gap in the media landscape. There were countless individuals with powerful stories, valuable experiences, and life-changing insights. Yet, many lacked a trusted platform where their voices could truly be heard. So, my mission was to create more than a magazine. I wanted to build a platform that focuses on transformation, not just exposure, a space where people are recognized not only for what they do, but for who they really are. A place where voices often overlooked by mainstream media can share their journey, inspire others, and leave a meaningful legacy. At its heart, I Am Magazine serves a global bridge between story and opportunity. And because before the title, before the success, and before the recognition, there is a human story. And that is where truly impact begins.
Yeah, I remember hearing that and thinking that is exactly what's missing because
Mm,
in reality, most platforms either celebrate the highlight reel or ignore the human part completely.
yeah,
And the gap between those two is where most people get lost.
exactly. And here where, for example, exposure helps people notice you. A feature helps people know you. And at I Am Magazine, we go beyond visibility and share the stories, the values, the experiences that shape the person behind the brand. It creates a deeper connection, builds trust, and of course, allows people to remember not just your name, but your impact.
That line, exposure helps people notice you, a feature helps people know you, is
Yeah.
honestly where most people stop understanding the difference. And there is a difference. Some time ago, I had someone tell me, I just need more eyeballs on my business. And I said, well, cool, that's acceptable. But here's the thing. Eyeballs don't sign contract. Trust does.
Mhm.
That's the shift. A feature isn't just a decoration, it's context. And context is what makes people stop scrolling and actually pay attention long enough to decide that you're real.
And that is very interesting what you're saying, Jen, because visibility may attract attention, but credibility creates trust. And people don't choose coaches, consultants, speakers, or leaders simply because they are visible. They choose them because they believe in them. So credibility helps shorten the trust gap and creates opportunities that visibility alone can't achieve.
I always laugh a little at this one because I've watched people go, I just need to be everywhere. It doesn't matter where it is, just everywhere. And I'm like, you can be everywhere and still not be believed anywhere.
True.
Once I worked, this was a while back, I worked with someone who had a massive social media following, tons of engagement, all of it. But when it came to real, actual conversions, crickets,
Nothing.
nothing. Then got featured, and suddenly people started following up differently, started showing up differently. Not more people necessarily, someone in their same circle of family or followers, but much better. That is credibility. It filters the noise for you.
Exactly. And being featured allows your expertise and your story to stand side by side. Because in today's world, people connect with authenticity as much as knowledge.
Mm.
So a feature highlights not only what you know, but also the experiences that shape your wisdom, helping others to see you as a trusted voice and respected authority.
Yeah, there's something interesting that happens when someone sees themselves in a publication, you know. They stop saying, I help people with this, and they start saying, I am known for this. Same person, different posture. And I've watched inboxes change, conversations change, and even how people introduce themselves at events change. That's authority. Not louder, just clearer.
Exactly. And stories connect people in ways facts never can. So your story reveals your values, your resilience, your lessons, and your humanity. It allows others to see themselves in your journey and reminds them that growth, healing, and success are possible for them too. So stories create connection, and connection creates trust.
Absolutely. Nobody ever said, wow, I trust them so much after reading their bullet points in a presentation, you know? It is always the story. Everybody has a brand, and that brand becomes memorable when they tell their story. Their own narrative becomes their brand. The moment they almost quit, for instance, the thing they overcame, the part they usually don't lead with, those are the parts that people remember when they're deciding who to work with. That's where the connection is work, because people don't just buy perfect. They actually buy relatable. They want to belong.
And that's true, Jen. A feature often becomes the beginning of something much bigger. It can lead to new partnerships, speaking opportunities, media interviews, collaborations, and meaningful connections around the world. When people resonate with your story, opportunities naturally begin to find you.
I've seen this play out more times than I can count. Sometimes someone thinks they are just getting an article, and then 3 weeks later, they're on a podcast or getting invited to speak somewhere that didn't even apply to. And they always say the same thing to me. It started after the feature, not because the feature magically did something, but because now people finally had a reason to take them seriously, to connect with them.
Exactly. And because global reach allows your message to travel beyond borders and touch lives you may never meet. And it creates opportunities for international visibility, collaboration, and influence. And more importantly, it allows your story to inspire people from different cultures, different backgrounds, and experiences around the world.
There's something wild about realizing someone in a completely different country can read your story and go, "Oh, wow, I needed that today." That's when you realize your audience was never just your audience. It was just your starting point.
And that is one wonderful thing, Jen, because one of the most beautiful transformations is watching people fully embrace their own value. I've seen individuals move from self doubt to confidence and from feeling invisible to becoming recognized leaders. And often sharing their story helps them realize just how powerful, inspiring, and impactful their journey truly is.
This is one of my favorite because you can literally hear it in how people speak afterwards. It's like something unlocks.
Yes.
They stop hedging everywhere with the I think or maybe and start speaking like they actually believe they belong in a room with authority. And once that shift happens, it never reverses.
Well, this is because many people believe they need to be more successful, more accomplished, or more ready before sharing their story. And the truth is that people connect with authenticity, not perfection. So your story doesn't need to be flawless to inspire someone, it simply needs to be shared.
If you're waiting until you are feeling ready, you've already delayed your impact for no reason at all. Nobody out there is handing out medals for perfection. People are just looking for something real enough to trust. That's
Well,
it.
that's true. And because I Am Magazine is more than a publication, it is a movement dedicated to celebrating the human spirit. So we don't simply feature accomplishments, we honor journeys. And we create a platform where your story can inspire others, build meaningful connections, and leave a lasting legacy that extends far beyond the page.
And I'll add this. It is one of the few things that keep working after you stop talking about it. A post disappears, ad stops, algorithm changes, but a well positioned story keeps doing its job quietly, consistently, like it has something better to be than just newsfeed. At the end of the day, visibility is easy, trust is not, and only one of those actually get you chosen.
And most of the time, your story is where the trust starts.
Being featured builds trust before you ever even enter any room.
That's true, Jen, because at I Am Magazine, we believe that when you share your story, you don't just change your visibility, you change what becomes possible next.
If you're listening to this and thinking, okay, I actually have a story that deserves to be told properly, then that's really the starting point. No perfection, no readiness, just a decision to stop keeping it to yourself.
And we currently feature powerful voices across three global platforms. So we have I Am Magazine International, the English edition. We have the Men's Division magazine, the Men's Leadership, Growth, and Impact Stories. And I Am Magazine en Español, the Spanish edition for global Spanish speaking voices. Each one is built to amplify stories that inspire, empower, and transform.
So if you've been sitting on your story, overthinking,
Mhm.
waiting for the right moment, this is probably your sign that the moment is not coming dressed in a tuxedo. You're not getting an invitation in a linen paper. It looks more like this. You deciding to share it.
Exactly. And to learn more about being featured, visit I Am Magazine and explore the publication that best aligns with your story, with your voice, and with your message. because your story already matters. The only question is whether it gets told.